Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with great artist, Bad Day. And boy, have I got a bad day. It is this absolute abomination of a performance from people you'd never expect. It's Stravinsky's Rite of Spring in Petrushka with Pierre Monteux and the Paris Conservatory Orchestra on Decca. It should be fabulous, right? Monteux conducted the premieres of this stuff, and it's the Paris Conservatory Orchestra, which I adore. You know how much I love the Paris Conservatory Orchestra in most things. But, Monteux was famous for, saying that he actually wasn't too thrilled with these Stravinsky pieces, and boy, you can tell from this. He actually recorded a fabulous Rite of Spring with the Boston Symphony, albeit in mono, and an even better Petrushka with the Boston Symphony in stereo, and they are glorious. These are both in stereo. They were recorded in 1956 and 57, so they're early stereo, Decca stereo. The sound is so-so. It's not wonderful. The orchestra, oh my goodness, they play like pigs. The Paris Conservatory Orchestra and French orchestras sort of more generally, were famous for their lack of discipline. And when you got a disciplinarian, like, for example, Igor Markevich at L'Amoureux, they could do stunning things because he forced them to, and then they got rid of him as soon as they could to get back to their usual lack of discipline. The Paris Conservatory Orchestra was kind of like that. They could be absolutely splendid. And, if it was music they knew and loved, and if they got along with the conductor, but you never knew. I don't know what the circumstances were of this performance. Monteux knew them. They knew him. There shouldn't have been any problem. The music is difficult. It's tricky. It takes lots and lots of work to do it correctly, especially in the mid-50s when the orchestras were not as fabulous as they are now. And, one of the things that really this drives home with Monteux, as with so many other conductors, I could do a whole talk about it, maybe I will, is the extent to which the conductor is at the mercy of the orchestra. Because they are. And orchestras generally know the music much better than the conductors do, although in this case, nobody knew it better than Monteux. And if they decided they weren't going to give it their best, then the conductor really had very little choice but to just hang on for dear life and pray. And even Monteux could not whip them into shape, because if you compare these performances to what he later did in Boston, you hear what a great orchestra will do, as opposed to what a great orchestra that really doesn't want to be a great orchestra will do. Everything about these performances is just a mess. Rhythmically, they're incredibly slack. The balances are kind of messed up. The qualities that I usually love in this orchestra, those lovely sec French woodwinds, the somewhat wobbly but piercing brass that are very well timbrally differentiated, the wiry strings, all of that, the snappy percussion, it all misfires. The percussion is practically inaudible, in many passages where they have big solo licks to do. The brass sound like they're dying. It's just a mess. A complete and total mess. A fascinating, wonderful, glorious mess. I keep this because, collectors, sometimes I'm just talking to people who are not hardcore classical people. Sometimes we want to hang on to lousy performances because just for the fun of listening to how bad they are, or listening to how different they are from other performances, or, for some peculiar reason to hear the tonal qualities of an ensemble. There are any number of reasons we keep bad performances hanging around. And that's why I keep this one around. But it just goes to show that just because the guy conducted the premiere, that does not mean that he was able to bring any special expertise to bear in all the time with 100% consistency. And Monteux was a very, very consistent conductor. He really, really was. So this was kind of a shock. I remember when I first heard it, and I thought, oh, this is so exciting. It's like the original cast recording with the conductor who really did it. It's going to be fabulous. And I put it on and just went, ah! Oh my God, what a disaster. What's going on with these people? It's just so flabby and so muffled and so smushy and so, the opposite of what Stravinsky needs, which is precision and clarity and rhythmic accentuation. And oh my goodness, disaster. Complete, total disaster. But an enjoyable and entertaining disaster. Sometimes it's fun to watch the train wreck, as long as nobody gets killed. And I assure you, nobody was killed in the making of this recording, however much they may deserve to have been. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.